floating in a stream. Is this the decaying carcass of a werewolf? That answer and more coming up on today's Hoax Factor. Welcome back, YouTubians, and for those of you who are here for the very first time, what the fuck took you so long? Octobrina sent me this image on our Facebook fan page. Thank you, Octobrina. Now, there are a couple of versions of the story behind these photos. One version is that a couple of fishermen came upon the creature and it was still alive. So they did what any reasonable person would do, and that is throw rocks at it until it was dead. The other version is that the creature was already dead, but they probably still threw rocks at it. So, is this finally proof that werewolves exist? A werewolf is a human who has the ability to shapeshift into a wolf or human hybrid wolf-like creature. The legend of werewolves developed sometime around the late Middle Ages and the early modern period, right about the same time as the belief in witches. One of the earliest mentions of a werewolf in literature was in this poem by Marie de France, where a nobleman is described as having to transform into a wolf every week. In the early 15th century, they even held werewolf trials in what is now modern-day Switzerland. I'm assuming they took the accused werewolf and instead of burning them, swatted them on the nose with a rolled up newspaper and then rubbed their noses in a pile of shit. Clinical lycanthropy is an actual condition. It's a rare psychiatric condition where the victims actually suffer from the delusion that they can transform into, has transformed into, or is a non-human animal. These people actually grunt, claw, and feel their body is covered with hair and their nails are elongated. Dr. Blom of the University of Groningen has found that since 1850, there have been at least 56 cases of people who believe they were transforming into an animal. Out of those 56, 13 would fall under the diagnosis of clinical lycanthropy. The rest believe they were dogs, snakes, frogs, and even a bee. So how much does your life suck if instead of a badass werewolf, you turn into a bee, where instead of ripping the throat out of your intended victim, you sting them and then go off and die? The origins of this folklore could possibly stem from rabies because of the similarities between the symptoms of the disease and the legends. However, the concept of transmitting the werewolf disease through a bite is a more modern adaptation on the belief. Werewolf sightings occur frequently. As recently as May of 2016, 7 separate eyewitnesses claimed to have witnessed an 8-foot-tall wolf-like creature outside of the city of Hull. One woman even claims to have witnessed the transformation herself. She was quoted as saying, "It was stood upright one moment, the next it was down on all fours running like a dog. I was terrified." And then it humped her leg and ran off into the woods after spotting a bunny. I of course added that last part. And what may be a related part of the story, a couple were driving at night through the countryside when they happened upon this monster, the infamous potato can blur. Robert Ingram and his wife attempted to take a picture of the beast that they described as a black panther and weighed around 9 stone, which I don't know what the hell that means, because here in America we use pounds instead of stones, but in England a pound is in reference to money and they call their trunk a boot. Why doesn't everyone just make it easy on me and speak American? Mr. Ingram, because of his shitty potato cam skills, drew up a sketch of the creature, which the Daily Mail says the sketch now has caused concerns that it wasn't a panther, but a more unusual beast. Why? Because they cite that the visual interpretation appears to show an animal with almost human-like traits. How about the visual interpretation appears to show that Mr. Ingram draws as well as a fucking 6-year-old? But I digress. So what's going on with this picture? Is this really the rotting carcass of a werewolf? No, it's not. Well, then what is it, you may ask?
And his name is John C.
Before I offer up what I think it actually is, I want to address something really quick. I am here to primarily entertain, and nothing I say is written in stone. I am wrong, and often so about a great many things. But please, for the love of God, don't let Angela know that I have admitted this. I've been asked in the comment section multiple times if there's anything that I have not been able to debunk here at Hoax Factor, and the answer is yes. However, just because we don't know what something is, it never gives anyone the right to assume it's something else, especially when that assumption leads to some ridiculous speculation. There's a logical fallacy known as the argument from ignorance. It is the claim that the truth of a premise is based on the fact that it has not been proven false. In other words, X is true because there is no proof X is false. Or, for example, in today's story, this must be a werewolf because there's no proof it isn't, which is utter bullshit. Another concept you should familiarize yourself with is Occam's razor, and that is the concept that if there are 2 possible explanations for something, the simpler one is usually better. Ultimately, you should live your life wanting to believe as many true things as possible and as few false things as possible. So when looking at this image, even though I can't prove with 100% accuracy that this is not a werewolf, but most likely either a phased black bear suffering from mange or the bloated dead body of a large feline creature, out of 2 possible explanations, werewolf or real-life animal, we have evidence of. The most simple explanation is it's a real-life animal that we have evidence of, or it's John Cena. Now, if you like this badass video, please click that like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe.